Hello everyone! Welcome to the second character spotlight, where I'll be going over the leather-wearing classes of the game, the Force Archer and the Force Blader. Let's get started. Let's start with the Force Archer. The Force Archer is a long-range DPS class that has a high attack speed with great kiting potential, mixing magic and physical damage to kill enemies from a safe distance. The Force Archer, while not sporting the super high damage glass cannon potential that a wizard carries, is still a formidable opponent in the battlefield due to her high mobility. Inspecting her abilities is always a necessity, and learning which abilities you can use while moving and which abilities have cast times will save your life in any situation. Her abilities range from nuke to dot damage over time abilities to AoE, area of effect, and passive abilities, all of which must be used in a proper order to really utilize how the Force Archer excels in PvE and PvP situations. Her consecutive chain starts off with a cast ability, but allows you to move after casting aimed shot, her primary ability, which deals the most damage in that chain. Power of Concentration is her battle mode, which really lets her use big nuke abilities in rapid succession. After getting her abilities down, you'll have to get used to the idea of moving around and only casting her abilities when you're a safe distance away, so memorize her max range, which is 21 meters. Luckily, there's a handy distance gauge at the top of the enemy's health bar. Moving backwards will interrupt any ability being cast, so watch out if you're trying to keep away but have a decent combo going. The final ability of her main consecutive chain, Rapid Shot, is a channeled ability that, as its name explains, shoots magic arrows quickly, so you can either use it as a finisher, but if you can't quite kill the enemy, running away right after is usually the best course of action. Keep away from the enemy and let her dots do the rest. You'll notice some abilities stay grayed out while you're in combat. Those abilities are triggered only after special actions are taken, like the Force Archer's Kill Shot, which only applies if the target is under a hard CC, such as a root or a stun. It deals a lot of damage, especially when it crits, but it's not going to be that reliable in a fight if the target is not under those conditions. Attempting to use the ability rather than any other time would just make you look silly and not deal any damage. The same applies to Frosty Shot, which is a little harder to proc, considering you have to be in the intense cold state, which only occurs after a successful aimed shot consecutive chain. Her buff is Accurate Aim, which increases the accuracy of all team members. Good job, naming team, you got this. A helpful tool in her arsenal is Flash Grenade, which lowers the accuracy of the enemies inside of the indicator. It's huge in making sure she stays safe if her enemies get a little too close for her comfort, but her other abilities should keep her safe in the meantime. Her other grenade is purely an AoE damage spell that helps with enemies cluttered inside, but can do nicely against a lone ent. Finish off that enemy and recuperate your mana using Deadly Focus, which essentially works as a mana potion. Very handy in combat. Remember, the greatest strength a Force Archer has is remaining long range while killing her enemies from a distance, and luckily, she has the tools to keep that going. Her main root, Frostbolt, keeps the enemy in place so you can load up the enemy with their two main damage over time abilities, Poison Arrow and Whirling Shot. Use Kill Shot for burst damage, as well as get aimed shots consecutive chain moving. Movement is key, so if you can't finish off the enemy with rapid fire, it's better to take that combo loss and fire off an instant cast ability rather than take unnecessary damage. This ability chain will be your primary source of damage in PvE, but will vary in PvP situations. You don't really want to be standing still while a warrior is changing towards you, so make sure to keep that in mind. This is where your flash grenade could really come in handy, just in case your enemy somehow tries to reach you. A force archer won't always insta-kill her opponent, so make sure to keep rapid evasion on the ready, just in case you need to get that extra distance away from your opponent. The archer, while not excelling in AoE like a wizard or warrior, still has enough in her kit to make her viable in some situations. Her main source of AoE damage is arrow bombardment, which fires off an arrow that can hit multiple enemies in a confined area. It's a consecutive ability, so make sure to quickly press explosive shot right after for even more AoE. Plus you do a mid-air flip, so that's awesome. There's also grenade, which will hit multiple enemies in that area. It can be fired off immediately if the passive Quick Focus is going on, but it has a cast time otherwise. Quick Focus has a random chance to proc, so keep on the lookout on your buff bar for it. The Wizard Battle Mode, Power of Concentration, is a deadly combination of shotgun and pistol that will leave your enemies broken. Like all DPS battle modes, she has a consecutive skill tree, an AoE consecutive attack, a massive nuke ability, a CC ability, a self-CC ability that acts like rapid evasion, and a self-heal. Her battle mode, when used properly, also keeps her far away from enemies where she can murder them in peace. If you're lucky, even if they get in range, your evasion skill will be up, so you'll be virtually unstoppable as you lay waste to your enemies. Plus, it has the added bonus of looking really freaking awesome. The Force Blader is a hybrid class that mixes melee and ranged abilities to make him a scary figure on the battlefield. Using a mixture of electric and shadow attacks, the Force Blader is a high attack and high damage glass cannon class. Your Force Blader will be most effective weaving in and out of a battle, combining his magic attacks and sword infusions to quickly dispatch an enemy. As you can see by the grayed out abilities on the hotbar, he has a ton of abilities that are mainly situational, making this class hard to master but well worth any effort. Looking through his abilities, you can see the huge variety this class offers, but can be overwhelming if you try to use them all at once. His party buff is Awakened Will, which increases crit accuracy, and he has several self buffs that can increase any of your primary stats, which you can use depending on your situation, but only one can be used at a time, so choose wisely. The Force Blader uses quick abilities to confuse his enemies, darting behind them rapidly, using his basic sword consecutive attack Flash Slash, yeah, try saying that 5 times fast, to finish them off. You'll see an ability pop off after his chain is finished, which is a buff that increases lightning damage. However, it's an optional buff that you can leave hanging in order to increase its power, as it's part of your recharge state, a vital component in Force Blader damage, which will stack up to 3 times. Also, after you do 2 attacks in his Flash Slash chain, yeah, I have to say that slow, you'll see a whole mess of abilities pop off. Those are all under the effect of your recharge state, where if you don't use any of those abilities, will recharge your mana at a faster rate. However, choosing to use one of these abilities is also highly beneficial. As a Force Blader, you will always want to be in a recharge state, so using your Flash Slash ability will be key. Now, what do these individual abilities bring? One is a huge lightning bolt ability that gets stronger the more stacks you have on your recharge state. One is an AoE lightning attack, and the other is a buff that we previously mentioned. And the most important ability that you'll probably love is Thunderbolt, which stuns your opponent and does more damage the more stacks you have on your recharge state. And then there's Power of Domination, Wings of Awakening, which is an ability that grants you the power to use 2 powerful spells from long range, as well as summon awesome looking wings. There's only 2 spells in this state, but both are incredibly powerful, so don't underestimate them. You have to use them in successive order, but once you get the basics of hitting one ability after another, I'm sure this will be a cakewalk for you. Of course, the Force Blader has a few defensive capabilities to make sure he survives during a battle. The results are not guaranteed. He has a magic shield, electric shield, that will shield him from any magic abilities, though a trunk to the face will sadly pass through them. And Shadow Shield, which will actually help defend against a few tree trunk punches to the face, as it actually covers physical damage and will let you finish off your enemies in style. The Force Blader battle mode, Power of Domination, will really make your enemies wet themselves in fear. His self-CC abilities lets him dash to his opponent, and then cause every sort of harming chaos imaginable to his enemies, including stunning them mid-fight to give him an edge. Sorry, wizards. Starting off his routine with his stun, then flying over to his enemy will give him a great head start in damaging and killing his opponent. He of course has a basic consecutive attack, an AoE lightning attack, and a burst ability that will make a lot of people rage quit, I'm sure. His self-heal will also come in handy in case there aren't any priests to heal him back up. This has been GMIC, and thank you all for watching. Be sure to tune into our next character spotlight on the plate wearers of Cabal 2, the Force Shielder and the Warrior. GMIC out, but not after spring!